All right, welcome to Weekend Video. This is Enda here from bullwebs.org. And if you like what I do, and if you want nightly Elliott wave analysis, get over to bullwebs.org and join up. And I'll see you there tonight for tonight's update. But apart from that, let's get into the weekend video, and we shall go over what's happened this week, and let's say try and make some prognostications about what's going to happen next week. Like I know the future, but I don't. But anyway. Okay, here is the pattern. I'm going to start at the dollar FX markets. This is euro dollar. This is the 4-hour chart in euro dollar. Been tracking this 5-wave pattern higher, looking for a reversal lower. Hasn't happened yet, but here we are. The possibility is again emerging after yesterday's action. So, in general, 5 waves up should lead to 3 waves down, a corrective higher low. I'm looking for kind of a retracement back in towards that long corrective grind down around the parity level. So maybe 1 to 101, somewhere around there. Interesting enough, 62% retracement from here would bring us down to 101. So let's call that a reasonable target, and work from there. I think let's get onto the hourly count, and I'll show you this 5th wave here that we've been tracking this week, or the last few weeks actually. But anyway, the best, I think, interpretation here is this is probably what I would class a momentum death of a 5th wave. It started with a nice sharp bang out of a corrective low, so we got a reasonable, let's say, first wave up, but then everything since then has just been sideways to nowhere basically. We've got the best interpretation I can give here is that we have a 1, 2, and then a smaller nested third wave here, 1, 2, 3, triangle 4, and then 5 within that nest, and then we have 3 waves down in 4, and then in the last couple of days we had a spike to a 5th wave and then a reversal. So interesting here, we have the size of the 5th wave actually meets more or less bang on to the pip the size of the first wave. So we have enough, I think, in the bag here to suggest, again, the possibility of a turn down into wave 2. I would look for like a break below this kind of shelf here, this corrective shelf. So we call it, let's say, a left shoulder, 4th wave. We break that. That would suggest wave A of A is underway. So about 108. If we break 108, I think that'll be a good signal to work down in begin the kind of, let's say, the pattern down in wave A of 2. Okay, let's move on. This is cable. I'm looking for a 3-wave pattern higher in cable, a second wave overall, second wave rally, but we are in a corrective decline at the moment. I think we've got wave A down done, wave B up pretty much done, and we should be moving lower into wave C now. So that'll create 3 waves down in wave B, a higher low, and then we'd look for a rally up in wave C then. So here we go. This is the short term, the hourly count for wave B, and it looks like a 3-wave pattern up. Again, we had that kind of initial bounce and then a drift to nowhere, basically. So the price has basically gone nowhere for the last month. We topped out the wave A high, more or less 127, and we're just trading above 127. 122.70. 121, 122.13, and now today we're 122.50. Well, basically gone sideways for a month. A long, hard road to nowhere, and I'm, let's say, reasonably hopeful that we're reversing now down into wave 1 of C. So we've got 3 waves up in B. We should look for a 5-wave pattern. Let's say a break of, I'm calling that B wave low as a signal level. A break of 120.80, 5 waves down in wave 1, and then let's say a corrective lower high early next week before accelerating lower again. We'll see how it goes. Dollar yen, the opposite is happening here for the moment anyway. We seem to be holding the higher lows that we've built this week, again, for the moment. Overall, I think we have 3 waves down more or less done. There is an alternate count that will allow for one more dive, let's say, into an alternate 5th wave here. But we have enough on the plate here, I think, on the hourly count to suggest that maybe we're turning higher. We're holding a higher low. It'll be a second higher low now that we're holding. We do have a 3-wave corrective pattern down into yesterday's lows, so the overnight lows actually punched slightly lower. So we're filling a trend channel. We have 3 waves down. We have no initial bounce yet to suggest that wave 3 of 3 is underway, but we could get that today. We'll see how it goes. I would like to see 127.55 hold today. So if that level holds, we may be in the clear. I'm going to suggest that we may be in the clear for a 3rd wave up coming our way. You can see the alternate count here for wave 5. So that's kind of like a postponement, let's say, of the inevitable rally I think that we get. Okay, so that's dollar yen. Let's move on. The stock market again. On the 4-hour count, you can see continual kind of tests of this downward sloping momentum line. So ever since, let's say, late November, we've really been tracing out lower highs in momentum, volume as well. See, do we have a volume on the daily chart there? No, I don't. No, I don't. Sorry. I know volume has been declining throughout this rally as well. So, and I think it's pretty much dropped off a cliff the last week or so. So in general, I am not changing my viewpoint here. I think we will get a shock move lower, probably sooner rather than later. The internal pattern here is still holding a lower high, so we still have 5 waves down, and we still have that corrective lower high, wave 2, despite all this week's action. So let's get to the hourly count here. You can see here we have a slightly different count. The main count I was operating on or working with last week is actually still valid because we didn't break to a new high here. But we tested it enough to suggest that maybe something different is going on here. So we switched, or I switched out. I switched out earlier this week. Excuse me. Keep yawning here. Get a drink. Right. So overall, we still have a second wave lower high. We still have 5 waves down into wave 1. And now wave 2, we have an overall 3 waves up into wave A, an expanded flat correction wave B, and then a possible ending diagonal pattern here into wave C. So that at least the ending diagonal pattern would cover all bases for what's happened over the last, let's say, couple of weeks within this rally. The general overlap, the continual 3-wave forms, there's nothing, let's say, quintessentially impulsive about this rally. It seems to be fighting against the overall or the reversal in trend. So hence the reason we didn't actually break to a new high in the Dow. But we have broken above the wave A highs. So we come in at wave A around 33,940 or so. The early trade this morning is actually holding around that level as well. I'm not sure whether wave C is done yet, but if we get a sharp reversal today, this is Friday, so if we get a sharp reversal lower this morning or later on today, then I'd be much more confident to say that wave 2 in blue is done here. I do like the pattern now. It's a 3 waves up in A, expanded flat correction wave B, and then that ending diagonal pattern wave C. We don't have enough downside yet to suggest or to, let's say, confirm the reversal into wave 3. So again, gotta be patient. Patience continually tested here, but nonetheless, the overall pattern still stands. Let's see if we get a confirmation of that next week. If we do break wave B again, if we break 32,940, then I suppose it's 1,000 point down. If we get a 1,000 point decline next week, I think we can pretty much safely say that we are turning into a third wave. So watch out. I don't sound as convicted as I was previously, but there's much more going on in the world than my little stock market convictions. Okay, so here is gold. Gold, very much like Eurodollar, actually. We do have a drift to nowhere over the last, let's say, month. Spike to a new high and a reversal. So again, I'm looking at that wave 1 top out possibility here. We should be expecting a wave 2 down then in that case. And we did get a slight new high this week. So let's bring up our fib grid. Let's say if we have topped out 1960, I would be expecting a minimum retracement of 50%. So that's 1780. Probably say we'll go lower than that, to be honest. Maybe down as far as that band between 62 and 78.6. That would bring us down between 1740, 1750 and 1680 for wave 2. So 3 waves down. It should be a pretty rapid correction, I think, given the way the rally has kind of unfolded over the last couple of months. It's been a very stepped rally, and momentum has pretty much died off as this rally has topped out. So the 4-hour count is still suggesting a reversal, even though we got a spike to a new high this week. We still have that momentum reversal underway. Let's get into the hourly count here. You can see I updated the final 5th wave here. Because we got a new high, we were able to switch to a normal wave count. There's enough, let's say, within the internal pattern to suggest a traditional 5th wave. So we got wave 1 and 2 in pink. Then we had a wave 1 and 2 in black. Then we had wave 3 in black, wave 4, and wave 5. So that's overall all wave 3. And ABC, basically the last 3 weeks have just gone sideways, and that, I suppose, is indicative of a correction. So it's probably a running flat correction, wave 4, and then a spike to a new high, wave 5. If we break back below this shoulder here, let's say we break 1900 again today, I'd be reasonably confident that we are actually starting down in wave A, and probably wave 1 of A, if it's going to be, it may be a 3-wave decline as well, I'm not sure. So that'd be wave 1 or wave A should break 1900 again. So watch out for that possibility today. Okay, let's go on crude oil. We got the reversal this week in crude oil. Not a lot else has gone right, but crude oil seems to be working. We were looking at that 5-wave decline in wave 1 in green, 3 waves up in wave 2, and we have declined again. So this could be a signal for the stock market as well. So I would watch out on that front. So if we have a 1-2 pattern complete, then we should get a lower 1-2 to signal that third wave is underway. So we get the hourly count here. We can see the overall 3 waves up in wave 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pretty much like a leading diagonal pattern here in wave 1 blue. So if that's a leading or a wedge or a leading diagonal, and we've got a correction higher in wave 2 coming our way. So I'm suggesting, or I have been suggesting over the last couple of days, that we bottom in wave 5, wave 1, wave 5 of 1, and we correct higher in wave 2 back towards the 80 handle again. I think we'll probably push in wave 2 of 3, we'll probably push back towards $80 again. And then we'd look for an acceleration lower later next week. So early next week, probably some sort of a consolidation or rebound in prices back towards the $80 level. And then I'd look for wave 3 down to come our way later on in the week. Okay, so let's move on. The S&P. The count of the S&P was changed this week, obviously, because we got a spike to a new high. We didn't get that spike to a new high in the Dow, but we have overall a similar pattern running. Wave C has broken the wave A high. So overall, we're still looking at 5 waves down in wave 1 in green. 3 waves up in wave 2 green. We're back towards that previous second wave high you can see here within wave 1. So 41.40, call that. We spiked above that at 41.40. Still, also coincides with the 78.6 retracement of wave 1. So we've got a lot of signals or signposts still favoring a decline in a third wave coming our way. So we've got 5 waves down, wave 1, 3 waves up in wave 2. Pretty much completed pattern, 78.6 retracement, spike to a new high, reversal. Let's get into the hourly count and I'll show you what I've been thinking over the last few days. So here's that wave A top of 2, so 3 waves down in wave B. The 3 waves down does fit a flat correction, so we've got 3 down in A, 3 up in B, and then A, B, C, D, E. Sorry, expanded flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Expanded flat correction, A, B, C in wave B. And then off that, we have a possible candidate again for an ending diagonal. So overall, the internal overlaps, the basically divergence of momentum, the real kind of tricky internal pattern here does suggest an ending diagonal for wave C. We have 5 waves up. We've touched the upper trend line. We've there's no confirmation of a reversal yet, but we did decline off yesterday's high again. So we will just have to wait and see whether we get that initial decline to suggest wave 1 of 3 is underway. So we'll look for 5 waves down again next week. The break of the B wave low, 37.63, and that will be a very, very strong, powerful signal that the third wave is underway. So, hey, come on board. Join bullwave.org and you'll be able to watch this developing every night. Okay. Here is silver for our account in silver. We had a change of pattern this week. Well, no, we didn't. We had a kind of a strange week in silver this week. I remember on Wednesday evening I was tracing a possible 5th wave higher in silver, and I wrote something along the lines of, I cannot trust a single thing that this market does, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a massive reversal to rule out this new pattern. And what did we get? The very next day, we got a massive reversal, a slight spike to a new high, and a complete rejection of that new high. So some days I just have to laugh. It's like as if the market was just listening. So we have a third wave high. We had a developing triangle, 4th wave, and then a spike to a new high in wave 5. I was calling this wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and I was looking for a 4th and a 5th wave to a new high, but it's just completely rejected the new high. So I am contemplating the idea that we have a reversal pattern building again. If we got wave 1 done, then we should look for wave 2. And that second wave correction, let's get to the 4 account. That second wave correction should bring us below $20 again. Don't be surprised to see, a 19 print before the second wave is complete. Somewhere in the 19 handle. That's probably exactly what people are not expecting right now. So there's a couple of interesting levels there. There's a previous second wave. There's the 4th wave high. We do have, I think it's a pretty solid 60% or 62% retracement there around that $20 level. Yep, 62% retracement comes in at 20. So don't be surprised to see a break of 20 to form that higher low. Okay, let's move on. I'm going to go to daily Bitcoin count. Daily Bitcoin count. There is a couple of options here. I still think we're in a possible 4th wave correction here. Maybe wave 3 came in back last May, before last summer, and this is all let's say a running flat correction, or maybe an expanded flat correction, depending on how we top out here. But we could count it a couple of different ways. We could say that wave 1, 2, pretty solid 3-wave correction higher back early last year. 5 waves down again. So a possible 3-wave low. Let's get a date on that. June 22, possible wave 3 low. So we could be going sideways since June last year in a 4th wave. Obviously, the fifth wave count that I was working with got invalidated. But uh, again, this is another market that I don't trust as far as I could throw it. It's going to again burn a ton of people. We're not complete 5 waves down yet, and we need. I think we get back to below 10,000 before we see a B wave low or a sustainable low in Bitcoin, if there is such a thing. We need 5 waves down. Let's see if we get there over the next couple of months. This is a longer term view, I know that. But if wave 4 is topping out now, then we should see impulsive moves towards the downside again in wave 5. On the 4-hour count, again, against the backdrop of that rally, we've had a real, let's say, momentum death spiral and momentum. We're going to get it down, let's say, a centerline cross, which may not. How would I say this? It may not be the trigger of a decline into a fifth wave, but it's definitely a signal that we're turning. So I would watch for that one. Let's move on. The NASDAQ daily count. Let's go to the 4-hour count in NASDAQ. I've been tracking a second wave high again. We blasted a rally this week, so the market was looking for some sort of affirmation from the Fed that the Fed is always going to have your back. They printed 25 basis points higher on the overnight rate, and they left, and the market, just overjoyed with that. So I think that's probably the highest, or let's say the high watermark of this correction, where people seem to be absolutely convinced now that the lows are in and we're ready to rally to the moon again. I would be, me, Mr. Cautious. Just don't jump in just because the rest of the market is willing to jump in, or they already have anyway. I mean, people have been convincing themselves of a low for the last 3 months or 2 months anyway. So whoever was going to jump in has probably already jumped in. You can see the NASDAQ probably took a hit from the headline numbers in Google last night. So we'll see, do we get any downdraft following from that. I still think we have a solid 5-wave pattern higher in wave C. We have an overall flat correction pattern in wave 2. Let's get to the 4-hour count again. So that flat correction wave 2. This is all, to me anyway, this is all pointing one way, and that way is down. So don't be too overjoyed by this week's rally, because it may be the last one you'll see for a while. Okay. What did I want to touch on Ethereum? Maybe. I'll touch on it. This is a daily chart for Ethereum. You can see off the all-time highs back in November 21, was it? Yeah, early November 21. We had an all-time high at, this is just something I noticed this week, an all-time high back at 48.56 or 48.50, let's call it, and then an immediate crash off that. So we could call this a wave 1 down. We had a solid 3-wave pattern up, retracement, probably a 50% retracement off the initial decline. That we call that wave 2. Then we had a solid 5-wave pattern again down to the summer lows, about 880 or so. We could call that wave 3. Now, what's happened after the last while? Well, we have a possible, either a flat correction again, 4th wave. So I think we top this 4th wave out, either in this band between 2025, let's say, and 2050. So 2150, below 2150, I think we top out that this correction. This will be a 4th wave again. So at the moment we're kind of tracking in a triangle. So we might have an A, B, C already done. Maybe we continue to tighten that range around 1300, and we close out a triangle, and then we start moving lower again. So I'm going to draw that for you. It's just some thoughts I had this week on Ethereum. Given the rally in Bitcoin, I think I was looking to see what the rest of the, or let's say the other big players in the crypto space were doing. So I still think we're developing 5 waves down here, and this could be a triangle 4th wave before moving down into a 5th wave. And I think that fifth wave could be horrendous. Let's go to the weekly chart. Do we have a weekly chart here? The 5th wave could be horrendous. I don't know if you can see this, but we could easily fall back down towards that the lows in Ethereum again. So we could easily fall back below $100 in wave 5. I'm just saying. Okay, I'm going to leave that one, and I think that does it for today. Like I said, head over to bullwebs.org if you like what I do, and if you want 90 Elliott web analysis. If you listen to nothing else, just listen to this. We're all sinners. I know I am. I miss the mark every single day. Sin means to miss the mark that God has laid out for us. And because God is holy, he cannot be around, or he will not have in his presence sin. So, what did he do to solve that problem? He gave you the Messiah, the promised one. From the first pages of Genesis, this Messiah was promised. Messiah is God in the flesh. He came down here. He lived the perfect life. His name was Yeshua. Yeshua HaNazarati. Yeshua ben Yosef HaNazarati. And he died on a cross. He took that sin away, took it to the grave. And if you believe in him, that died and rose again for your to solve your sin problem, if you believe on that, you are counted as righteous. And just as Abraham was counted righteous because he believed God, he had faith, the same stands true for us. You have faith in what God did for you, then you are counted as righteous before God. Your sins are taken care of. Nothing is too great for God. So, what else can I say? God did the work. There's nothing that we can do to make ourselves holier. Even if I try to do that, I cannot stop doing the things that I should not do. And that is that. That's the good news, the gospel of Jesus Christ, and the news of the market also. So, to whomever stayed until the end of this video, God's blessings to you. Get over to the website, and I'll see you there tonight for tonight's update. Until then, or until next week, if I'm still alive or I'm still around, God bless. Bye-bye.